What did I do to deserve this? I feel like I'm going crazy. Why is my life falling apart? Why? What in the actual heck is happening? Those are some of the things, just some of the things that I felt during my spiritual awakening journey. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you my spiritual awakening journey that first happened back when I was 16, then again at 25, and then again at 30. Who would have thunk? Hey, hi, how's it going? My name is Charlene, Lizette. I'm an empowerment coach and spiritual teacher. And in today's video, I'm going to walk you through my spiritual awakening journey because I know that you are probably going through something very similar and asking yourself, WTF? No, the world is not ending, but your reality, what you are experiencing in this current time is completely falling apart. The veil is being lifted and you are now seeing things from a completely new lens. And it's freaking terrifying, man. It's scary. It is overwhelming. It is isolating. It is all these feelings. And if you want to know more about the signs and symptoms of a spiritual awakening, you're going to want to watch the next video that's coming up after this one. So really early on in my life, I knew that I was different. Around 6, 7, 8, while most people had groups of friends and fit into spaces, I was always trying to find where I fit in. I was cycling through friendships that were often short-lived. I felt very different than all the other kids, and I often felt like I wasn't from here or that I didn't belong. One of the ongoing jokes with my mom is that she truly feels like I'm an alien because she's like, you are not like anyone in our family. And I'm like, yeah, I know I was switched at birth. So this knowing of not belonging or feeling like I didn't belong or knowing that I was different continued on through all of my younger years. I would have prophetic dreams. I would have a lot of night terrors, a lot of nightmares. When I hit 15, 16, all these things escalated and they exasperated and they became so much that it felt like a volcano was exploding in my life. When I first experienced my first spiritual awakening, the massive catalyst moment that happened during that time was my parents separating, and it was me going through these revelations of recognizing and being terrified that I was not like these other kids. I did not fit into anywhere. Didn't matter if it was the cool kids, the nerdy kids, the smokers, the athlete. I didn't fit into any of those. It was like me against the world, and I did not understand why. And so spirituality was a place of comfort for me, and I would hang out a lot at the library reading all sorts of books on spirituality that were available back then. If you're from Canada, do you all remember Chapters? That was like my home away from home because I couldn't afford books, and so I would sit in the bookstore and skim through and read through as many books as possible. From the ages of 16 to 25, I really dived into the different spiritual modalities that are available or the healing modalities that are available. So I learned all about feng shui, I learned about astrology, I learned about tarot, I learned about spirituality, talking to the dead. Sylvia Brown, absolutely loved her. I would read everything about Sylvia Brown back in the day. I have all her books. I ended up falling back into the trap of the 3D world, caring about what other people thought about me. I wanted to make sure that the boys liked me. I wanted to make sure that I looked cool, that I was hip, and that I fit in. And so I followed all the trends, all the societal constructs that were designed at that time. And naturally, it makes sense. I didn't have my prefrontal cortex developed. I was in my early 20s. And so while there were all these spiritual aspects of myself, there was still this pull, this tug into the 3D world. Hindsight's always 2020. Back then, the universe was really propelling me and wanting me to dive into my purpose, dive into who I truly am, and become this spiritual teacher and understand the world of spirituality. But we have free will when we're on this earth. And so my human body decided that instead of leaning into and surrendering to the world of philosophy, spirituality, the world of esotericism, and understanding everything that is consciousness and awareness, I leaned back into the world of partying, and I went down a very dark, deep hole. And so through this depressive state, through this, what we call the dark night of the soul, I went down into the deepest depths of the darkness and started partying really heavy and surrounding myself in really, really toxic environments that were just no bueno at all. Like sex, drugs, rock and roll, Yeah, it was fun at that time, but it wasn't really fun because it was a mask that I was trying to wear. It was masks that I had put on to try and fit into these environments so that people could accept me and so that people could like me. And also because I didn't want to look like a weirdo. When you're 24, 23, you don't want to look like a weirdo, right? You want to be cool, you want to be hip, you want to fit in. And I have this ability of looking at someone straight in the eye the first time that I meet them and know so much about them. It's like I connect into them, I fuse into them, and I get a download about who they are. And that sounds really weird to people who are not conscious and people who are not aware and people who don't practice spirituality, right? That's a very odd thing for them to hear. And so I didn't want to be that anymore. And I specifically remember during one of the periods of my life where I was astral traveling uncontrollably and having so many prophetic dreams about so many things all at once. It was basically like I wasn't sleeping. I was just dreaming downloads and seeing things continuously, and then they would come true within the next week or so. That I one night yelled to God and said, I don't want this anymore. I hate this. Take it away from me. I don't like it. It terrifies me. I don't understand it. You're not giving me the why. You're not telling me the when. I don't like the knowing, but not knowing. And that created a lot of rage and a lot of anger in me because it didn't make any sense to me. And when we live in a frequency of fear, we are ignorant, and ignorance fuels fear. It fuels this inability to surrender to things, and it also keeps us stuck, limited, and bound. And so I lived myself in that nasty, dark cycle for many, many years. And at 25, I had my second spiritual awakening. That spiritual awakening came like a 18-wheeler, fully loaded, right into my body. I had mistreated my body so much. I had masked it so much with so many toxins, with so much poison in my life because I didn't want to be who I was. It was during that second spiritual awakening where I had the opportunity to meet who I consider my guardian angel. And he is in heaven right now, and his name is Chando Silver. I get emotional talking about him because there was no rhyme or reason why I would have connected with him other than I know that he was divinely guided to me to support me in my journey at the time, and he now has passed on. During my second spiritual awakening, I remember knowing that I couldn't do this anymore. I remember being in this energy of recognizing that this was not good for my body. It was not good for my soul. It was not good for me mentally and emotionally. With the help of Chando, he was a devout Buddhist. He helped me understand things from a whole new light. He opened up the gates of heaven to me in a completely different way, one that was full of compassion, understanding, and that person that I wanted to talk to so badly when I was 16, 17, 18 became available to me during my second spiritual awakening. And it was with Chando, who I never physically met, who lived in Edmonton, and I live in Toronto, so you all can look at the geography yourself and understand the distance. There was no rhyme or reason why we would have ever connected other than the divine guidance of the universe, that he helped me to understand what I was going through and why I was going through it and what to do with my gifts and what to do during the spiritual awakening. And he was so kind that he would send me books, he would send me cards, he would send me CDs, because back in the day we used CDs and we would pop them into our computer. And he would send me all these things, and I actually have one of his books right here. He sent me Peace in Every Breath. This man was an angel sent from heaven. And his purpose was to help me and to help everybody else that he did before his job was done here on earth. It was through his support, through his guidance, through his mentorship that I really started leaning in more and more to the spiritual world. And so I learned about Buddhism, and I learned about the chakras, and I learned about Hinduism, and I learned about mythology, and my spiritual awareness and my spiritual knowledge expanded and it grew. And my knowledge of all things like the Akashic records and source energy and God and oneness and consciousness and connection to all things, it all began to make sense, and it all opened like a waterfall coming down on me. I was receiving all this information, and it was through his help and through his guidance that I was able to get out of the dark night of the soul, which was a very toxic, dark period in my life. And I'm not going to share all of the information in this video because I feel like a lot of it's really sensitive and personal, and maybe I'll open up about it one day. But it was a really, really terrible, terrible time in my life. A lot of really awful things happened for me. And I say for me, not to me, because they happened for me to learn. And it was in understanding that, in understanding to take accountability and responsibility for my life, that I was able to really progress in my life from 25 to 30. I ended up being really successful in my career. I was making a lot of really good money. I was helping a lot of people. I was working. I was really loving my life. And then, because your girl likes to learn things the hard way, I decided that I was going to revert back to the 3D consciousness, to the limitations, the societal constructs. And it was all these experiences that were happening where I didn't fit in. And I was trying to learn how to embrace not fitting in, but then having these external influences telling me that I needed to fit in and that I didn't look normal because I didn't fit in. And so there I went, reverted back into this 3D mindset, and ended up meeting someone. And 2 years later, I gave birth to my son, Charlie, at 30. And it was during the birth of my child. It was during the first year of my child's life where I went through my third and final spiritual awakening. It was at this moment where I recognized the pattern. It was in one moment of deep despair and helplessness where I was in the bathroom crying, asking myself, what is happening? Why is this happening? What am I doing? Where I recognized that I was the common denominator in every single one of these catalyst moments. It was me not listening to the universe. It was me not listening to my higher self. It was me not being authentic to who I truly am. It was me ignoring my emotions. It was all my responsibility in the life that I had cultivated. I had this beautiful gift now, my son, this beautiful, amazing treasure that and this gift that I'm so thankful to the universe for every single day of my life. And how could what kind of mother would I be if I continued to repeat these patterns and taught him that this is what life was? How unconscious, how unaware, and how selfish of me to do that to him. And so I made this decision to radically transform my life. That was not an easy moment in my life. At that time, I had left my 6-figure income. I was a stay-at-home mom. I saw my relationship falling apart and recognizing that I didn't want to be a part of it anymore. I had this child that I was now responsible for, and I was going through my spiritual awakening, my third and final one, the biggest one, where I recognized, why am I repeating the same patterns? Why am I attracting the same things over and over again? Looking back to when I was 16, looking back to when I was 25, all that time in between, and then now being 30 and going, holy crap. Holy it was like this huge epiphany, and it was like I could see, but not through here. And I saw things, and I saw everything. I understood that this is what it means to be spiritually awakened. This is what it means when I talk about catalyst moments and the dissolving of the false constructs and understanding the difference between the ego, the shadow, and the higher self. This is what it's all about. It's this oneness, and it's this unity, and it's an understanding that we have this opportunity to continuously live in joy, happiness, optimism, excitement, fulfillment. But yet, this 3D world only offers us and feeds us and fuels us with fear, limitations, hopelessness, helplessness, despair, sadness, rage, anger, and jealousy. And it was through that transformation where everything fell apart. You see, when you go through a spiritual awakening journey, and if you want to go find out more about a spiritual awakening journey, make sure you watch the next video. When you go through a spiritual awakening journey and you step into your power and you step into your truest, most authentic self, everything that doesn't fit or align with the new energetic frequency that you are vibrating at will be removed from your life. And that stops a lot of people from stepping into their spiritual awakening and living their best life. It's that fear of, what do you mean everything I know is going to disappear? There's a certain sense of comfort, a certain sense of complacency, a certain sense of knowing that makes people feel very safe. And so oftentimes people that you see who continue to live unconsciously, who maybe have weaker souls or who have yet to integrate and understand and be aware of everything that is in front of them, the biggest thing that holds them back is fear. And I looked fear straight in the fucking eyes and I said, not today, Satan. Not today. This meant I left my relationship. I broke up with 7 of what I considered to be my closest girlfriends in a span of one day. I decided not to pursue a corporate career anymore and start my own business here on YouTube using social media. I decided to heal. I decided to take responsibility for my life and empower myself and become the best version of myself so that I could be the best mother, the best partner, the best friend, and the best person and the best version of me ever out into this whole universe so I could be a beacon of light for this universe. And that meant that everything that didn't align with my highest good and anything that wasn't for my highest good at that time needed to die and needed to shift and needed to be released out of my life. And that was my third and final spiritual awakening. And I share all this with you because if you are in these moments of darkness, in these moments of shedding, in these moments of not knowing how to take the next step or what the next step is going to look like, you're not alone. It's very normal. It's very natural. It's very much part of the process to walk through that darkness, because it is in that darkness that you learn that the light doesn't exist outside. The light isn't a person that you're going to meet, your partner, your child, your mom, your dad. The light is you. You are the light. And so through the darkness, through the dark night of the soul, you start to learn and remember that the light exists within you. And in remembering that the light exists within you, you start to shine your light out into the world. And it is in shining your light out into the world is that you shift the energetic frequency that you're currently vibrating at, which then completely transforms all aspects of your life. So you go from living a life of unfulfillment, of unhappiness, of hopelessness and helplessness, of stuckness, of unknowing, to a life of happiness and joy and celebration and excitement and optimism and feeling valued and feeling powerful. It is in this journey of the darkness, it is in this journey of a spiritual awakening that you get to finally remember who you are. You see, every single one of you that is here on this earth, every single one of you that is watching this video has this beautiful soul purpose. You've come to earth for a particular reason, and you're watching this video for a particular reason because you know that you're destined for more. You know that you deserve more. You know that this pain, this suffering, this isolation, this sadness, this depression, you don't deserve that. No one deserves that. So why aren't you able in these moments to see the other side? Well, that is simply because you're holding on to the fear of letting go of everything that you do know in order to make space for everything that is yet to come that you don't know. And there is this certain sense of surrender that ends up happening. And it was in me understanding that certain sense of surrender, not one time, not two times, but 3 times, that I was finally able to make sense of it all. And that's why today I shared my spiritual awakening journey with you all. To know that it will take time, that the journey is definitely not linear, that there is a path forward, that there is this opportunity for you to attract everything that you've always desired and to live a life of happiness and fulfillment. It is all available to you. You have to remember that you are in control, that you are the driver of your life, that car that you drive on the journey, the road of life, you are the driver, not anybody else. And when you make that switch, your whole life transforms and changes. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment below, let me know what your thoughts were, and make sure you go watch the other video to find out if you are going through any of these symptoms or signs of a spiritual awakening. We'll see you later, alligator. Peace out. Bye.